Malin, such a pleasure to speak with you, especially about a
Hi.
film as interesting as Let's Love. I read that you were dyslexic, so you naturally enjoy improv as a result. Doing a film with Jamie Adams, who, is a true collaborator and gives these characters over to the cast, had to
Yeah.
just be the most natural fit for you. How was it having so much freedom and having this film where, the cast is improving so much?
I loved it. Listen, there's two elements to this. One is, yes, I am mildly dyslexic, so learning lines for me is takes a little longer than most. But I also am so afraid of improv. It is something something that scares me, and I had my first experience with Joe Swanberg. We did a show called Easy. It was an anthology. And so it was one episode and it was all improv. And that was the first time I've ever done all improv. And my heart was up in my throat every single day because I was so nervous. But I loved that feeling. I loved being afraid and feeling alive and being on your toes at all times and tapping into sort of this weird mix of reality and fantasy and what's character and what's you. And anyway, I just enjoyed that experience so much. So when this came along, I was really excited because I know, Jamie's been doing this for a while. He's got what, like 20 films under his belt, doing this kind of stuff. And with the cast that he had put together, I was just really excited to step into something like this with this really talented cast of people. And then you feel kind of protected because you're going, all right, I'm with some people who I feel like could pull this off. But I loved every minute of it. Yes, I loved at the end of the day that we didn't have to learn lines, that we could all just go out for dinners and enjoy each other's company. So yeah, I wouldn't call myself an improv actor. I love comedy. I love doing comedy. But I have to say, like, being on Children's Hospital with some of the best comedians in the world was me running a race with some of the best runners, just trying to keep up and learning from them. So I just love being in that space.
I was curious, what's the biggest challenge of doing a film that's so improv based? Because I feel like if you're a bit off or just not all there for a day, you'd just be like, can't we just have lines? Like it seems like
Yeah.
everybody has to be on for this to work.
Yeah, definitely. But I think it does. I think the thing about improv is that it's never repetitive. So you don't get tired of your lines over and over again from every single angle. You do it once, and that's the only time you're going to do it that way. And then you do it again, and it's something completely different. And Jamie wanted that anyway. We would do a scene. A lot of the scenes, there's like the sort of the breakup scene between my character and Josh Hutcherson's character. And that you could probably do three or four different scenes with that one scene, just because we got to do it over and over again, and then Jamie would kind of like come in and say, "Hey, all right, so back it up to this point, and now Mullen, say this to him," and then I would say that, and would create a brand new reaction and a whole new scene. So um, I I really enjoyed that part of it.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And all the relationships in the film are in a strange, kind of fractured place. The characters all feel very real and flawed, which I think is why Jamie can allow you guys to really improv because you have so much to go off of. Usually in
Yeah.
a film, we're lucky if the protagonist has that many layers. So how rich is it working in this story template where every single character has those layers and a depth to them because that has to
I
help
mean,
everybody.
of course, that's all you want. You don't want one-dimensional characters. That's boring for us and for the audience. And so um it was kind of a meta movie, a movie within a movie, trying to like figure out a script for the sequel while we're in a movie trying to figure out the script for this film. So it was really fun to play all those layers and to comment sort of on my character Andrea and her romance with Jackson, the young star of her film 10 years ago. That's something that we see in our industry over and over again, where it's on-set romances, just because everything is so heightened. You're you're in your passion when you're doing a film or a TV show. You're doing what you're most passionate about, and you're in scenes with people, or you're directing, or you're in this environment and you're away from home and reality. And so all of a sudden it just there's a blurred line and you don't know what's what. And so that was really fun to explore as well, and see that, and her awakening of, oh, this isn't right for me. And actually Martin Freeman's character Nigel is much more my speed, her speed, and discovering that. So yeah, there were lots of layers to play with, and I think we all just tried to keep it as grounded as possible. Even though there were some absurd moments, it was just fun to play around.
I loved all your scenes with Josh Hutcherson. He plays your husband in the film, and
Yeah,
it's such a fun performance from him. I love
I
when
loved
he's like,
it.
"Oh, I'm a writer," and then he's
Yeah,
like, "Well, I don't have my ideas."
yeah. Oh,
What just stood out about him as
great.
a scene partner?
Oh gosh, that what you just said, like there were some really great zingers, some one-liners, and you're just like, oh my God, how am I going to keep a straight face right now? Like, stay in it, stay in character. But he's just so cute and so sweet, and he delivers it so honestly. And you just, and I know those people too. I've met those people in the industry where you're like, you're a writer. Oh, what have you written? Well, nothing yet. Oh, okay, cool. But so you have some ideas, like, I'm thinking about it. You're like, oh, okay. Wow, so maybe you don't call yourself a writer just yet, but th those people exist. And so that he really just did a great spoof on that, and nailed it. It was exactly the characters that we've met along the way.
I was curious. You play a director in this film. Did you
Yeah.
draw inspiration from any of the ones that you've worked with?
Not really, no. I think the only thing that I can say is the understanding of why she was with Josh's character is what I was touching on earlier, where I have seen those on-set romances between directors and actors before, just because of all that passion that's going on. And then, a few years later, you run into them and you're like, so what happened? And they're like, I think I was in a daze. So it's just kind of drawing from that stuff, but no one in particular, no. We just tried to bring an essence of like how and the why, and then bring a part of myself into that, of like, what would I be like if I'd been a director on that set, and who am I, and what would Malin bring to this? So it's a little mix of a character and myself, I guess.
That makes total sense. There's an exciting cameo at the end of this film with Dermot Mulroney. Was he actually on a Zoom with you guys, or how was that filmed?
He was on a Zoom with us. Yeah, we had to film it that way because, he wasn't going to come to Wales for one day. He's a busy guy. But I was so excited. I gave him a call, and asked if he'd be interested, because Jamie said, we're looking for somebody who'd be a fun little cameo. And I said, I think I have the guy. Dermot is always up for anything. He's so sweet. We love working together. So when I gave him a call and said, would you mind? It would just be like an hour of your time. He was game, and he did so great. He also had some really great singers in there. I think he says to Nigel, oh, so you wrote it? Are you still writing? And it's just like the stuff that came. He did a great job. So that was really fun to have him be a part of it.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love the beginning of this film, all the convention drama.
Yeah.
I know smaller conventions can be very sketchy. And you've done like conventions and stuff like that. Have you ever had much drama from those sort of bookings?
No, I haven't. So far, so good, knock on wood. But it's um always been well received. Nothing's been canceled as we got there, so that's nice. Usually a lot of people come to say hi, and you get to meet some of your super fans, which is really enjoyable because I love people with passion, so it's really fun to hear their stories and their connections to whatever characters they love. And I've always enjoyed the time. But no, we haven't had any big faux pas like that
Oh,
one.
that's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's definitely good. And it's interesting because this film places, it's a 10-year reunion for this hit film, and it's interesting the lifespans of these movies. Like, we were talking about conventions. I'm sure Watchmen gets brought up a lot to you
all the
just
time.
because it's so big in that circle.
Yeah.
How has it been just living with that movie and like it doesn't go away? If anything, it gets discovered by more people
Yeah.
and it keeps being a touchstone. How has it been just watching these lives of these movies just continue?
It's awesome. You can never predict anything like that. Like you can't predict the longevity of any art piece that you do, you know? So it's really fun that people who have been fans since it came out and also people just discovering it, any of those films, I think as an audience member myself, there are films that I would watch over and over again for the rest of my life. And so it's this nostalgia that comes with it, or it's whatever it makes you feel, or it's the art on the screen, or whatever attracts you to it. It's just I understand it myself, and so I just think it's great and it's fun and I love it and it's not tedious. I think about that because I've thought about singers who have to sing the same hit songs over and over for like 80 years. I was thinking of the Rolling Stones, so forgive me, but for like years and years. But you go, I can't imagine that you ever really get sick of it when you're in, in real life meeting the fans or on stage singing to the fans who are singing the lyrics back to you. That it's just got to be a beautiful thing. And that's how I feel too. I'm just really happy that it continues to have life.
I love that. My last question for you. It was so unique that the comeback had yet another comeback. How special was it returning to that role, which was really one of your early breakouts, and you got to play it like every 10 years? Like that has to be such a strange experience for you.
It was less strange and more just so grateful, so genuinely happy, like you were just saying, about people catching on or loving something so much. I'm so glad that it got to continue because it was for me, it was the beginning of my career. Lisa Kudrow and Michael Patrick King gave me the beginning of my career. And so to get to come back to this and kind of check in every decade and be like, oh, hey guys, how are you doing now? Like, what's happening in your life? It's just it's been such a fun journey. And I'm definitely sad that it's over on that front, but I have some incredible friends in Lisa and Michael, and I am so grateful to them. And I'm also just so happy that audiences loved it as much as I did and as much as we did making it. I just love these characters. I think they did a great job. I think Valerie Cherish is just a brilliant piece of work on Lisa's, and I believe that she kind of created this character when she was in The Groundling. So Valerie Cherish has been around for a long time, and I just love that the world loves her. So it's been a great journey.